Independence means something different for me. When I was a kid, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. When I didn't know what that meant at the time, I realized that my life would be different. And afterwards, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. When I was a kid, I had my whole life planned out. Like, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be so many things. And then I realized as I grew older, most of those things I wouldn't be able to attain. But not in the way you think. Now fast forward 15 years later, to my graduation party. I want to stay home, play video games, but when I went to a graduation party, I kind of just, I guess you could say, was in the background. When I saw the other people, I just heard questions come over and over again. When are you getting married? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just 18. But then I heard more questions coming, repeating over and over again. What are you gonna do for a career? What are you gonna do with what are you gonna do with your life? When are you getting a job? And then everything just stopped. After I just could see the clock in the corner just go ticking down, and further down. And like a jackhammer in my head, and that's all I could hear at the moment. When I was a kid, I just wanted to have my life planned out. Like, wanted to be like after 18, I wanted to get be able to drive a car, be able to have normal people, what other people would want. And I realized that that would be more difficult for me, but I realized that when back at the party, I just stood there frozen. Everything in me was trying to hold myself back. I was jittery. I was just worried about being laughed at, worried about being looked down on, worried about being alone. But more than anything, I was afraid of how people react, how people would treat me, and then I could just see my dad in the corner. He came up to wrap my arms around me. But for most of the time, it felt like pine needles, like brushing against your arm. But at that moment, it grounded me. It brought me back to myself again. And there's a quote from my favorite video game series, Uncharted. And it says, greatness from small beginnings, which means that you can take the small steps to greatness. And even though they might be small at the time, they still are worthwhile. And each small step to independence will get you over to greatness. And I realized that even though my life would be different, my life wouldn't be the same as everyone else's, and it might not be the same timetable, but I realized it would be worthwhile. So I just want to leave that independence leads to greatness.